So, joining us on this amazing hump day in our Vicarious series. Welcome, Jeff. Hey, Chicago, I see you. Okay, Kankakee County. All right, Minnesota. Welcome, welcome. I am in Maryland, so Oregon. Okay, Iowa City. We got PA and California. Welcome, welcome. All right, all right. I am Nadia Washington. We're going to be starting in a few seconds. Just giving people the time to join in. And as you're entering in, if you could just drop your name and where you are coming from. We have people coming from all across the country. And welcome, welcome, East Coast, West Coast. Now, if you're on the East Coast, I would say good afternoon. My Pacific people, good morning. And then I guess I got some lunchtimers who are in the Central. Hello, thank you for joining us. Thank you all. So, this afternoon, morning, we will be doing vicarious trauma, vicarious resilience, and using the vitality domains to strengthen vicarious resilience. My name is Nadia Washington. I am your host for today on this fabulous Wednesday. I thank you all for taking time to join in the scheduling with us talk about some things and what does it mean, and getting right in the middle of the week about how we strengthen our vicarious resilience and what that all looks like. So, our ways to engage. I know when you guys came on, you were already muted, but if you guys do jump on and you become unmute, just make sure that you put yourself back on mute. When you're ready to comment, please raise your hand and we'll unmute you, and then you'll need to unmute yourself to be heard, okay? Please be patient with us. And also feel free to type your comments in the group chat and make sure it's going to all panelists and attendees. Our agreements for today: speak from your own experience, and this means use our statements. Whatever you say, this is your statement. Speak from that perspective. Our golden rule: treat other people the way you want to be treated. Your full presence is needed here, so try as best as you can not to multitask. And if you need a minute, take a minute. You have to step off and come back on. We are aware that we are in times, so we're in offices and home offices across the country. Some people may be in the car, but we're here. If you need a minute, take a minute. And if you agree with our agreements, just type agree in the chat so that we know that we're all on the same page. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for those who are typing agree. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right, we're going to go to our next slide. Mm. So, we're going to talk a little bit more about what the domains of vitality are. For those of you, if it's your first time, welcome, so you can really understand what they are. We're going to go over a few of them, well, all of them actually. So, the first one is physical vitality, it's the health and well being of your body. Then we're going to go, it's the mental vitality, and that's the health and well being of your mind. The spiritual vitality is feeling completely alive and full of positive energy. Your environmental vitality, how your surroundings influence your well being. Your social vitality, your support system, and the joy that friends and family add to your life. And the last but not least is financial vitality, and that's us having the capacity to meet the needs of the material world. Okay. So those are all of our domains of vitality. So when we're having discussions, you know what we're talking in reference to. All right, we're going to move ahead. So, we're going to talk about using the domains of vitality and how it strengthens our vicarious resilience. So, my first question I'm going to ask you guys is, what domain of vitality do you think helps you build the most vicarious resilience? So, as you guys are thinking this up or being prepared to talk in the chat, or if you want to be lifted up to speak out loud, I'm going to give you a little example for myself. And I was gonna say is that mine is my mental and my emotional. When I check in, I know that there are things that are happening. People are affected by different things, doing trainings, doing working with people in our community. And so sometimes I really have to say, oh, let me just step back and let me feel how am I feeling this? What am I feeling in my body and the thoughts of this processing, right? So maybe some physical as well, I would say. And as I'm dealing about my domains of vitality, I know that thinking about it and processing it, it helps me build like I gotta know in advance that I'm about to have or engage in a traumatic situation. Okay. Is there anybody who would like to share what domain of vitality do you think you helps you most to build vicarious trauma? And if you can raise your hand if you would like to speak. Thank you, Andrew. So as we're thinking about it, what domains of vitality you think? So I saw some physical, I'm sorry, I saw some mental and emotional. I saw some people say spiritual. Why do you guys say that? What makes it why does it happen? What is that for? Okay. So you're saying that all of the domains of vitality intertwine and they support one another. All right, all right. Thank you for sharing. Anyone else? What domain of vitality do you think helps you build your vicarious resilience? So it allows you to be objective in the process. Absolutely. It cycles one affecting the other. Absolutely. So you have one thing that you know that's happening and how it transitions to another thing. So you're engaging in the work that you're doing. You're working with families. You're working with people in the community. So how do you do that? Lawan, thank you. So your spiritual vitality helps you with staying your focus on your faith. Absolutely. And drawing in. Some people, it may be music. Right. Spiritual. Okay. In tapping into the energy of others. All right. Stay in prayer. Okay. Anybody else? Someone has their hand raised. Let's see. Anybody want to speak up on this? Let me get a voice to you all. Okay. So our next question is which of the domains of vitality have the strongest link to vicarious resilience for you? Which domain of the domains of vitality have the strongest link to vicarious resilience? So I would say for me personally, my I statement, of course, is the one that has the strongest link to me. I would say would be spiritual. And sometimes it's just the feeling of the energy. I feel like I'm connected, and how that emotion. Sometimes I'm in prayer, sometimes I'm in worship, and so I have to kind of get through some things and look at some things because I know I'm about to go into an environment that I know that's gonna connect me to some feelings or some emotions from my past. And if you guys have any for you all, which of the domains of vitality have the strongest link? Emotional and spiritual. Okay. Anyone else? So the strongest for you is mental and emotional. Okay. Mental, spiritual, physical and spiritual. And I'm gonna drop a little question about that even with the question. So why do you guys feel like that it is for you? Why is it that link? Why is it so strong? So you got to feel solid financially. That's important for your safety. Okay. We have two people raising their hands. Let me go to my first person. Uh, Give me 1 second. So Sandra, if you would like to take yourself off of mute, I don't see your mic on.
Well, for
Okay.
me, oh, I'm sorry. I chose spiritual for me because that's who brought me through mentally, physically, was God for me. When I'm going through or when I'm overwhelmed or for my resilience. All right. started to go to church, and God helped me to learn who I was, who I am, and who I belong to. So, and being in the ministry today, so spiritual work so much for me. Even the work that I do as a parent partner,
Mhm.
it helps. I didn't have to turn to something unhealthy um, to fill a void, and so God did it for me, and made me feel that faith can move mountains. So,
Thank you for sharing, Sandra. I appreciate your testimony. Sophia, you had your hand raised. If you can unmute yourself. Okay.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Great, thanks. Yeah, I said physical and spiritual. I think the work I do, like actually physically affects me. Like at the end of the day at 5 o'clock, I'm just like, I gotta lie down, you know. And I think spiritually, I'm very connected to my body. Like every day, I try to um, focus on breathing a lot. I even like have this like whistle after that I have. So it's like not like loud or anything, but it's a whistle that I blow every time I'm done with a session, and it kind of like helps me release the energy and spiritual energy that I held in that session with me. So yeah, like yeah.
Thank you for sharing, Sophia. And I have next was I think was Christina. Did you have your hand up? And please take yourself off of mute and you can share as well.
All right. How's everybody doing?
Hello, hello, Christina.
Hi. So for myself, I put mental and emotional, and that I would say for the fact that being a parent leader, it is physically, like mentally draining on you, and to be able to separate the two of having shared a lived experience, but still being able to support others in the community that are going through similar situations. And just for me, emotionally, because as much as you want to be emotionally involved in it, there has to be that barrier. There has to be that line that separates. You can't get um, too emotional with the work you do, because you need to be able to stand strong and help others to achieve whatever goals they are trying to. So those would be mine right there. Thank you for letting me share.
And thank you for coming on to share. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And so, is there anyone else who would like to share before we move on? That you like to raise your hand and feel free to share. And you guys can also keep posting in the chat. Wonderful stuff that we're reading. You guys are doing some amazing things. So I did see in the chat that we had a couple of people said that because okay, Tamara, I think it said because if my head isn't in the right place, I can easily get sucked in to other people's stuff. I'm very empathetic and sensitive to other people's feelings and moods. If I'm not caring for my own mental health, I will quickly burn out and no longer be able to do my work. Yes, thank you for sharing that. Rebecca, I think, said, my relationship with God is the basis of my entire life, the most important part. So the spiritual domain is always on top. Thank you. Joy, my spiritual is the key, regardless of the direction of things or events. Okay. And if I missed, I think some other people said spiritual and financial. You just want to have a solid financial gain. I think that was Adrian. And Sophia was physical and spiritual. And another domain that helps me a lot with resilience is physical vitality. It helps me to be out in the nature and exercising for me in the process of some things. Thank you all for sharing. Is there anybody else who would want to share in the chat or share out loud what their strongest link to vicarious trauma and vicarious resilience is for them? Okay. All right. So we're going to move ahead to our next. So as we're thinking about our relationships and thinking about some things in the relationship domain of vitality, right? Why did you pick why did you pick it, right? and then what's important to you about it, and how do you think you would like to build it. So I'm gonna break it down first. So why did you pick the vitality, the domain of vitality that you picked? Let's start there. So some people were saying spiritual and physical, and they didn't give a reason why. So this is the time we want to give a little reason. If you put physical and spiritual, why? Please feel free to type it in the chat. Thank you. Okay, you couldn't hear me. I'm sorry, Adrian. Thank you. Thank you. Is that better? Can you hear me? So is that better for our volume? Okay. So I need my right mind to concentrate on matters. Okay, Adrian, you still a little bit low. I would tell you if you could turn your mic and make could be your mic. Andrew, is it my mic? Can am I still low to you?
No, I can hear you pretty good.
Okay, okay. I just wanted to make sure that everyone could hear me. So, what in this process, when you picked spiritual or physical, what was the reason why you picked physical or spiritual, or emotional, or did you pick financial? Some people said financial, social vitality. Is there anybody who has a social vitality that they feel that that's a heavy one for them, and that connection of the strongest tie, and why would you feel that way? And I just want to make sure that my question is clear. This is in reference to the domains of vitality that we were talking about earlier, and that strongest link between the domains of vitality and the vicarious resilience. So when you chose that, why did you pick it? And for those who have already explained, we're going to move forward and say, all right, now I know why I picked it. So what's important to you about it? So what's important about it to you? Why is it so important for your spiritual vitality or your financial vitality in regards to vicarious resilience? Okay, Andrew said I picked social vitality in part because the pandemic isolation really drove home how important that domain is to me. I would like to build it by being intentional with my relationships and choosing experiences that are going to build me up instead of tearing me down. Okay, thank you for sharing. I want to build my environmental vitality and lean less on my social vitality. Would you like to explain that a little bit more for me, Adrian? Rebecca, you said I chose the spiritual domain because it's the foundation of my life. Without that, I feel lost and there is no joy. I build it by being in God's word and His with His people. Thank you for sharing. And so I would say for me, it is a piece of the spiritual vitality and all the things that you guys said with the spiritual vitality. Sometimes I need some physical vitality too. I also love to take walks outside. I like to be around nature, so some environmental pieces. And the reason why I take a walk is sometimes I need to feel my legs on the ground. I need to feel the wind blowing in my hair sometimes. Sometimes I need to feel it on my face. And that's why. Okay. All right. So thank you. Walks in nature are wonderful. The pandemic has me home, and I like that there's a higher being. I'm sorry. I dropped one. Uh-oh. Let me go back down. The pandemic has me home, and I don't want to lean too much on my children. Rather, I need to open up outside. I also want to be a leader in the community. Thank you for sharing. I feel spiritual is important to me because it helps me in my personal and professional life, knowing that there is a higher being leading me. My emotions help me in personal life and being empathetic to families I serve. Spiritual vitality because it provides me with the ultimate support I need when all else seems to be failing. I have to believe I can get through. I pick mental and emotional. I have a history of anxiety and panic disorder and a major depressive disorder. I need to be on an even keel. And even if I'm not working diligently to get back there, as I said, I can't cannot keep doing my work with families, which I love, if I'm not in a good place, if you're feeling from an empty pot. Thank you for sharing. And then the last one is my relationship with God through spirituality, because that is the energy that gives to all other vitality domains. I can get social out of that too, with church in person, online, and community groups. That's links the mental and emotional too. Thank you for sharing. Thank you all for giving your piece of that. We're gonna move on to our next couple of questions, so we can talk about a little bit more about building vicarious resilience. So, how are you building your own vicarious resilience, and how are you assisting others to do that? How are you building your own vicarious resilience, and how are you assisting others? You can put it in the chat, or you can feel free to raise your hand and we can unmute you. And I'm sorry, and unmute yourself. So I'll give another example just to kind of help you guys with thinking about it. One of the ways I do know that I'm building my vicarious resilience is that I really am taking thought into. I have a group in my Facebook, 100 days of thankfulness, and being thankful in the process of everything that's happening. When I'm around people, what does that look like? And so pushing that out. And so how I'm assisting others is that I'm putting that out in the energy, that mental and that thought, and putting it out there for others to do the same, to learn how to not just always absorb things, but how to process through. So my 100 day of thankfulness has worked for me. What about all of you? How are you building your vicarious resilience? You guys are doing great work out there. So I know you have to think about some things that you're doing to build your vicarious resilience. And if you're not building your vicarious resilience, put that in the chat. Something I have to work on. That's one of my areas that I'm not as strong in. Something I may have to think about. I see other people that may be doing it, but that's just not me. All right, we have a hand raised, Maria, and you can hit take yourself off of mute.
Okay, can you hear me okay?
I absolutely can.
All right. Well, honestly, I think that the way I deal with or build on vicarious resilience is by, I chose earlier about mental and emotional well being. I need to have that by reading books, and just taking these trainings are a perfect example of what I think keeps me on the ground, mentally stable. And the way I deal with these type of things is by sharing everything that I learn when I have just a normal conversation with someone that's dealing with something similar to mine. I'll use, of course, a nice statement and explain to them how I'm dealing with things, but it's just from things I've read from reliable sources or from these type of trainings.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to share? I see that there are some people going in the chat. I'll read the last one. She said, I totally agree. These types of trainings are and the daily webinars really keeps me grounded. Thank you. Thank you for that. And I see Christina said, by showing others that their mental health is important for them to be able to overcome obstacles that they are facing. Thank you. All right. So we're gonna go up. Go to the next question. And let me go back because I know I had someone else. Rebecca, you said praying for myself, bring information on building resilience to families I work with and being support while they build theirs. Absolutely. Reminding myself that I've overcome, God empower clients to do the same. Seeing them successfully navigate their challenges helps me to keep to build up, and it's a powerful cycle. Thank you. Thank you. So, what are you? What's going on for your domain of vitality that is impacted by other people's trauma, and what can you do to build it back up? So, what's going on for you in your domain of vitality? Okay, so if it was mental and emotional that has been impacted by other people's trauma, and what can you do to build it back up? And again, for you guys, I'll give a quick one. I noticed that if I'm always bringing in trauma, it affects my physical body. So sometimes I'll get lethargic or I'll get sick or I'm struggling with little things because I know I'm feeling all the energy from other people. This is when you call on your spirituality, absolutely. And and what does it do? So when is it impacted? So what do you do when it's impacted? All right, Adrian, take yourself off of mute.
Great. Good morning, everybody. How are
Hello.
you?
Good morning.
Hey. So, I am thrilled when things get kind of crazy and rough, and everybody else gets ready to walk out the door. And to me, that's really energizing. And that's when I call on a higher being to really ground me and assist me and have the strength to dig deeper and to make that person feel more connected to the group or to God or to everyone in the room, because that's really what it's all about.
Hmm.
Ultimately it's about that network and that connection that kind of goes all the way around, and you have to really push yourself. You have to really dig deep inside yourself when um, you get on the bigger life experiences, But the thing is, we're in pandemic and people are about to go on really big life experiences together, apart, but together. And a lot of what these drunk families are about is taking that burden off the one person and putting it on the group together so that you can together join hands and come back. And and I think if you don't have the spirituality to do that, if your cup's not full, if you don't see that little opportunity in the negativity and understand that, wait, this is the opportunity. This is the big opportunity to ground everybody and to bring them together instead of turning them around and sending them disparate ways. And I think it's amazing, that we can do it, that we can do it well, and that we can do it so that everyone comes back the next week. That's the part that's really great. So, and that when I take that away from a situation or a group, then I feel like I've done my job really, really well. And it's as simple as just coming at it with love.
Absolutely. And I mean, thank you for that, Adrian, and giving people a voice in this process. Because that's very important as well. That this is what we're doing together. So I'm gonna move us ahead. I'm gonna read the last question, but we'll have time later on if you guys join in a week that you can answer this or you can write it down. Andrew, could you hit that last question just for them to think about? A little bit of homework. So, how can you implement a strategy in incorporating the domains of vitality to strengthen your vicarious resilience? So think about that. How are you going to get this strategy? And thinking of these ways that you're going to incorporate your own vicarious resilience. So we're going to drop a poll. And if you all could answer for us for the poll, how did you like today's webinar? And you can check all that apply to you. Working with families. What are you? Are you a parent? Who are you? Who's in the room? We want to know. I see it says 34 participants, so I want to get all of you to give your amazing responses of how do you feel about today? Who's in the room? Okay, how did you hear about us? And then we are also throughout the week, we're going to continue this work with you all. We thank you for joining because we're going to have more to come. And so you have the vicarious trauma, vicarious resilience that we'll be doing tomorrow Friday, I'll be here to host the Taste of Vitality, the Taste of Vitality Cafe. Please join in, register. Thank you for joining. And then next week, we're going straight to our relationship based practice and making effective referrals. So, the work that you guys are doing, make sure you're going to register and put, then Robin's going to lead that one, determining the needs and providing real support. That'll be led by Brenda Griffith, Kinsler. And then the last one is going to be around referrals and relationships. So make sure that you're out, make sure that you're joining. Thank you for your time this afternoon and this morning. And if you would like, you can hit the link. You can do to register the event. You can scan it on your phone. So we're here, and we have a couple of other cafes and trainings that are coming up that you can register for. Our online living and protective factors is at the end of the month. We have amazing opportunities of trainings for you guys to join. Please join in. Check us out on our website, bestrongfamilies.org. And if you have any questions, thank you again. Send it through our info app. Thank you for your time. Have a